Live video pause. Oh God, hold on. Oh yeah, I do. Okay, that's live. We're live over there and here. Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well. We will do our best. This is our first time trying to do this. We're actually doing a simultaneous cast on Facebook and on Instagram. So if you see us looking here and looking there, it's just because we're doing two casts all at once. So we're gonna try this and see how this works, so that we can reach more individuals. We've seen people who have expressed that they like watching our health talks with Motts, and so we're trying to get that on as many platforms as possible. So with that said, I think we're ready to go. It is 8:30.
Yep, so get started, guys.
Tonight's topic is something that's actually very near and dear to me, and that's the topic of burnout. For those who don't know what that is, Dana's going to describe that, but it's something that in today's society we seem to. This diffuser is not on wheels. It's not magic. She's just trying to slide it into the frame,
Yeah,
so everyone can see our desert mist diffuser.
diffuser.
But yeah, so burnout is something that many people suffer from in today's society because of just the way that life is. Life is very hectic and life is very stressful, and so we're seeing a manifestation of that in many individuals that we come across and talk to in our everyday lives. I'm sure at some point, I know personally I've suffered from it, and I'm sure that you guys probably know somebody who has, or if you have suffered from it personally. So we're going to give you guys a little few tips to help you kind of deal with that, give you guys some information, and we're going to talk about some of the things that that we like to utilize. We're big into essential oils and aromatherapy, so a lot of what we're going to talk about tonight is going to hit on that. But if you guys have any questions, this is a discussion, so feel free to post them in the chat, and we'll do our best to answer them by the end of our session.
Yes, and please say hello and let us know where you are from.
Yep. Okay, so let's start with the topic of burnout. Dana has the definition of burnout. What is that? What is burnout?
All right, so burnout is a state of emotional, mental, and physical exhaustion caused by excessive and prolonged stress. So this is deeper than just your regular stress, you know, because in general, unfortunately, in our society, we are stressed out most of the time, right? So when we're talking about burnout, we're talking about your stress levels, and that excess of those stress is so high that you stay in that state. And we know that really, really affects our endocrine system. That's why a lot of times we talk about supporting that endocrine system, and that's connected to our nerves. So it's so important to pay attention to these things. So it's caused by that excessive and prolonged stress.
So can I add to that really quickly before you carry on? So Dana and I are both statistics people, and so we do look at the numbers. In doing research, 48% of Americans actually experience this type of stress over the past 5 years, that it has led to burnout, and that number has actually increased since then, since this study was taken. So it's 48% of Americans that suffer from burnout. 31% of employed adults have difficulty managing their work and family responsibilities, and 53% say work leaves them overtired and overwhelmed. So you're floating right somewhere in almost half the population in this country suffer from some type of stress or burnout. And so that means that we have to change something. We have to do something about it.
Different, yes.
So
I just want to say, hey, cousin, and you love oils, good. So you're in the right place, Christina.
Absolutely. So Dana's going to talk a little bit about what are some signs. Oh, is this one changing color?
Yeah.
Wow, we've had this for like how long, and I didn't know that it changes colors like that. I'm sorry, I'm getting derailed. Dana's going to talk a little bit about some of the signs that a person might be suffering from burnout. Okay. You want me to take over?
Yeah, well, you start with.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to talk about some of the signs. The number one sign that you usually will notice that you're starting to get burned out is it's going to manifest itself physically. So most people think of this as physical exhaustion. but burnout actually has a massive impact on not only your physical state, but your mental state as well. So you might suffer from things such as back pain, depression, heart disease is one of the results of it, obesity, or this one I see quite a bit when people are just burned out. They get sick a lot, and it's not necessarily related to just the weather. It's just, it seems like every time we talk to them, like they had like some type of cold or illness.
Yeah.
And that can actually be a sign that you're starting to get burned out. And so I feel like that's probably one of the more visible ones.
Yeah. And I'll say, just to add to that, and we talk about this a lot in our classes, but remember again, our body has frequencies, right? So when you are stressed out, you're up here all the time, your body can't come back, right? So having those high levels of stress is going to actually lower the frequency in our bodies. If we have a lower frequency in our bodies, disease and illness are going to manifest more. So even if the same scenario, same circumstances, same environment, a person that has a higher frequency versus a person that is stressed out and has a lower frequency, that person with that lower frequency is going to be affected by illnesses more. It's just going to happen because that is the way our body is created. It was created to vibrate at higher frequencies. And that's why, again, essential oils are so crucial, because we know that essential oils have some of the highest frequencies that we know here on earth. So it's important to be diffusing. It's important to be applying essential oils because, again, that is going to increase our body's frequencies.
Yeah, absolutely. And then to add to that, I guess that falls kind of under the category of be aware of your physical health, things that not only detract from it, but I mean, this time of year, most people are getting sick anyway. So if your body's frequencies are lower because you're constantly under stress and you're starting to get burned out, you have to look at what else can I do. Well, hopefully you're trying to relieve that, but what else can I do to prevent myself from getting sick as much? I constantly hear people say I cannot get sick right now. I feel like that's a constant saying that people say. So what can you do to prevent that? So just something to think about.
And I just wanted to add to some of what you were saying, those physical signs. So also with that change of appetite or sleep habits. So again, when we think about a change of appetite and sleep habits, and as Anthony had mentioned, then that affects our weight. Right? So sometimes people will find where, again, they are at this high level of stress all the time, and they're like, but I eat a salad all the time, right? But your salad is not absorbing into your body. You're not getting any of the nutrients because you're stressed out and you're at that high level of stress. And so even though you might be putting good things into your body can't hold on to it, because it's so focused on that brain, that nervous system, that it doesn't even have time to utilize all the good things that you're trying to do.
Yeah. That kind of touches with the second sign that I was going to touch on, especially when we're talking about our cognitive function. So people who are starting to get burned out, one of the other things you'll notice is you'll have problems with your just cognitive functions, like every day-to-day executive functions. And that's because the stress actually hampers your prefrontal cortex, which is the part of the brain that's responsible for executing these functions on a day-by-day basis. So you'll notice it'll impact things such as your memory, your decision-making abilities, your emotional control, and your focus. So usually you'll notice yourself start making silly mistakes. You might forget where things are a lot more often. So like you might misplace your keys or your sunglasses, even though they might be sitting on the top of your head. Those are things you're going to notice. You might have emotional outbursts. You might start making very poor decisions. Hopefully not, but that's possible. So you have to look at also what can you do to support your healthy brain function. So for me, I know every day I'm looking at supporting my brain. I'm taking my fish oil. And I take Omega Jize, which is made by Young Living, which is one of the best fish oils that I've ever had. But I do take fish oil, and it's already open. That's what I was sniffing earlier, my cedarwood. But I actually also use cedarwood oil. because cedarwood is very good for supporting healthy brain function as well. So I do use that quite a bit, whether I'm diffusing it or applying a little bit to my temples and rubbing it in, just because I want to be as sharp as possible on a day-to-day basis.
Yep.
Anything to add to that?
Mm-mm.
No. Okay. All right. So let's talk about another sign that you might be suffering from burnout. Difficulty with work and personal relationships. So I feel like this one I see all the time. And I used to just think it's a manifestation of the time period that we live in, that it's just become socially acceptable just to be like rude to other individuals, you know? But now that I think about it, if almost half of the population are suffering from burnout or some type of extreme amount of stress, it's going to affect your relationships. So that's going to be your personal relationships, whether it be within your household, with your significant other or spouse, your children, work relationships, friendships. It's going to affect all of that. And you'll notice that you might actually become a little bit more recluse or a little bit shorter with those individuals. You may not even feel like being around them as much. So I feel like it's very important to take notice of that and try and head those off and to strengthen those relationships. So I know you were going to talk about present time a little bit. Was that kind of in that vein?
Sure.
Okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No,
Oh, okay. No, I got confused. I'm sorry. So I was just saying that you have to be aware of how your relationships are doing. Open communication is great, but also making sure that you make those efforts to pursue your relationships. Stay in contact with your friends. It's not good for you to isolate yourself, because that's only going to make it 10 times worse. But also be in the moment. Like when you're in your relationships, or say you're having a conversation with one of your friends or your significant others, we laugh and joke in Young Living because we're always like, there's an oil for everything. And there actually is. So this was the oil I was actually asking Dana about. Is there's an actual oil called Present Time that is used to remind you to be in the moment. So this is a great one to diffuse too, like with your significant other, or when you're interacting with other individuals, because I feel like so many times we're so focused on things going on in our own personal life that sometimes we can't disconnect and stop and think about our other relationships. Yeah. That's where I was going with that. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to throw you off.
Oh, no.
Did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
Not to present time. I was going to talk about emotional and behavioral signs.
Oh, go ahead.
So next I wanted to talk a little bit more about those emotional signs and symptoms, and they kind of go along with what Anthony was talking about. But also a lot of times you'll feel a sense of failure and self-doubt, feeling of helplessness, trapped and defeated, detachment, feeling alone in the world. So some of these meaningful relationships, it just feels like no one understands, no one gets it or whatnot. Loss of motivation, increasingly cynical and negative outlook. So everything just seems bad. Like everything in the world just seems bad. Again, all of this, even the mental, it's lowering your frequencies. Decreased satisfaction and sense of accomplishment. So even when you're finishing things, you're accomplishing things, you can't truly appreciate the good that you're doing. So some behavioral signs are withdrawing from your responsibilities, isolating yourself from others, which can be a scary, scary state to be in, procrastinating, taking longer to get things done, using food, drugs, or alcohol to cope with what's going on, taking out your frustration on other people, and skipping work or coming in late and leaving early. So again, those high levels of stress, these are all signs and things that you want to pay attention to and really take serious. Really, really take serious.
Yeah. And another thing that I'm thinking about is just with that aspect, it's kind of hard to turn off your brain, right? You know, so therefore it starts to affect other areas of your life. And I know that, like, we've had conversations about this before where you're just like, I just want to go to sleep, but I can't turn off my brain.
All the time.
And so you have to find a way to relax. Like, you have to find a way to help yourself um, kind of calm your brain down before you go to bed, because you'll notice that it kind of hints to one of the other signs, which is fatigue. And so fatigue is literally like you're getting your 8 hours of sleep at night and good quality sleep, but you're still tired. Like, you're waking up tired. Anyone ever like wake up tired? That's like one of the worst feelings in the world, because you're not going to have a productive day and you don't feel like doing this whole adult thing. So it's very important that you learn to turn your brain off. I know for us, we diffuse a lot at night. I personally love my cedarwood because for me, it's very calming. A lot of women love, what is it, lavender, that they like to diffuse or put some on their pillow to help them calm down, just to kind of help their brain relax so it's not constantly going all the time, and you can drift off to sleep like you should normally.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I was going with that.
Yep. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about when it comes to, a lot of times you will find people that suffer from burnout, they don't know how to say no. So they're
oh my goodness, yes.
They're constantly running, constantly going. A lot of times they're perfectionists and they want to please themselves and please others. You know, they're concerned about what's going on with other people, right? So another oil, this is an amazing blend. Look, I'm gonna go ahead and sniff it. And this one is called forgiveness. So forgiveness, sometimes you have to let go and let yourself be forgiven. You might have to forgive yourself and say, you know what? It's too much for me. I cannot take any more on my plate. Like, I love you and I want to be there for you, but I just can't do anymore. So sometimes we have to emotionally forgive ourselves for not being what we feel like everything we can be for everyone. So it's so important to really tap into those emotional oils. Love forgiveness. Love diffusing this. Hey, how are you? I love diffusing this. I love smelling this. It's just an excellent one to just go ahead and support yourself. Be okay when sometimes it's too much and you have to say no.
I see Reggie's question here in the chat. Mm-hmm. I will answer that at the end. Give me just a few minutes and I'll answer that for you. Maybe we can chat a little bit too, see what we can help you with. But you kind of hit on an interesting point, because, you know, so you and I are the type of people, we have a hard time saying no to others. Doesn't mean that we can't. It's just we desire to help as many people as possible, right? So a person like that sometimes is prone to kind of allowing themselves to go by the wayside, mm-hmm. you know, and so that's actually one of the signs. It had it listed as poor self-care. And we were talking about this yesterday, and I think this is so important. I use the analogy, fill your cup before you can fill somebody else's. Mm-hmm. And Daniel was like, what are you talking about? Like, what do you mean fill your cup? And I'm trying to explain it. And I just could not get it across the way that I wanted to. But it's so important that you have something to fill yourself with. Yes. And to find that thing, think about throughout your day, what are you passionate about? Like, what do you find yourself focusing on and thinking on as much as possible throughout the day? I know for me personally, it's music, and I love music. There's sometimes like a song will pop in my head when I'm at work, and I cannot wait to get off of work to get home so I can work on it. It's very important that you have something like that. Have some type of hobby or something that you're passionate about that allows you to fill yourself up. That doesn't involve, it's not reliant upon somebody else. Mm-hmm. This is for your personal mental well-being. Even if it's exercising, it might be for your physical well-being, but it's so important to have that so that you can fill your cup. Because really we're like buckets with a hole in the bottom, right? So hopefully it's a small hole and we're not gushing out, you know, water everywhere. And if we allow ourselves to be filled, then we can help and assist a lot more people.
Right. And I'll say 2 other oils. They're actually over there in my purse, but 2 other great oils for this is Live with Passion. Because maybe sometimes you're like, you know what, I don't really have like this one thing that I just love to do or whatnot. But what gets you excited? What are you passionate about? That's a great one to diffuse. Sometimes I'll just put that one on to really help get me focused, get me motivated, get me into the moment. Another great blend that I absolutely love is the gift. The gift helps you to look within yourself and say, you know, I am good enough. I am what I need to be. And I don't have to be sorry or I don't have to apologize for being me. Accept who you are and love that, right? So I love, love, love that blend to the gift. That's one that I use a lot, that and valor. So those are going to help to transform your mind, to help you, once you've designated that time, find what you're passionate about, find what you enjoy, and feel yourself.
Yeah. And that hits with where you're done. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. That hits with another point that's very similar to that is you'll notice that you have a lack of motivation. And so I kind of feel like passion and motivation are kind of synonymous, or they go hand in hand, because usually you're motivated to do something that you're passionate about, right? Mm-hmm. So if you have something that like that in your life, that's going to help to combat lack of motivation, even if it's within your job or your personal life, your secular life, whatever. Find something that you're passionate about, and usually you'll be motivated to do that. It is also ironic, because there is an oil for that. They do have a blend called Motivation. Mm-hmm. And my father loves that one. It's like one of his favorite oils. So as we talked about, I mean, it's very important to recognize the signs, but you also have to be proactive. You know, as soon as you notice them, think about, what can I do to combat this? Because this is something that's so common, and I feel like it affects a lot of people, especially in our generation. Mm-hmm. Our generation is one of the most, no, I take it back. I feel like our kids' generation are going to be the most stressed out generation, but we are some of the most stressed out individuals at such a young age, and it's leading to a lot of health issues, you know, and that's just crazy when you think about it. Yeah. So it's very, very important that you take care of yourselves. I know we love our oils because they're so versatile, yeah, and it has allowed us to address a lot of and support our bodies.
Right. And if you have not looked into the benefits, the connection between emotions and oils, just Google it. Just look it up, because it'll blow your mind. The science behind, I'm not a frou-frou person. If there's not like scientific evidence to back it up, I'm like, yeah, whatever, right? So look it up. There's been so many studies being done. There's a lot of studies right now being done just on mental health and the connection between smell, essential oils and things like that. So there's some phenomenal things that you can find, and just make sure what's most important is having the best quality possible. If the company does not own their own farms and they never have oils that go out of stock, then it can't be 100% pure. And this beautiful diffuser that you see in our video right now.
Hashtag shameless plug.
Yeah. So right now they're offering to get started with the premium starter kit with this beautiful diffuser, but it's only while supplies last. So if you've been on the fence, or you've been thinking about, you know what, I really do need to make a dramatic health change for my life. This isn't something where, oh, you buy an oil here or there. Like, really what we are promoting is a lifestyle. This is a life change. Hey, hey.
Hi, Jazzy.
How are you? This is a lifestyle. This is wellness. This is going to incorporate all aspects of your wellness, whether it's from a physical standpoint, an emotional standpoint. You really want to address all of that because it matters. The last little oil I wanted to talk about is nutmeg. Look up the benefits of this beautiful oil, nutmeg, as well. Nutmeg is a great support for the endocrine system. When we are stressed out, that poor endocrine system is being affected tremendously. So you want to support that. It also smells wonderful. And there's a nutmeg vitality that you can use. Love it, love it, love it. And what does it say?
So Jazzy said she was trying to get her coworker to get a diffuser.
She needs it. Yeah. She needs it in her life. But all right, does anybody have any other questions, comments, or concerns?
So Reggie had a question about an alternative to fish oil. So, I mean, Google is one of my best friends, and as wellness advocates, I mean, we don't diagnose or anything like that, but I can tell you that an alternative, like if you can't have fish oil, might be something like flaxseed oil.
Yeah, flaxseed oil, but it's
It's not going to be. Look it up. It's not going to be, in my opinion, it's not going to be as good as fish oil, but it is an alternative. So, sorry guys if we're leaning in extremely close to the cameras. We're trying to read the comments on our little rigs here.
We're trying to incorporate it into hospital with patients. I have to, there's a lot of hospitals right now that are incorporating them, which is amazing, for patient care. So Stress Away is an amazing one because a lot of times people in hospitals, they're just uneasy, like they're hearing obviously bad news and stuff. So incorporating essential oils, there too is awesome.
I know about 2-3 years ago when I was working at the hospital still, they were actually teaching aromatherapy classes, and the recommended oils, the number one recommended oil on their list for the aromatherapists that came in and taught the class was Young Living essential oils.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting.
I'm going to private message you on that one last question. I can't answer that.
Who, Jazzy?
Yeah. But I'll private message you.
Okay. We have another 3 minutes left. Anybody have any other questions? My wife is asking me, did I talk about Stress Away? So Stress Away, I call it, don't whoop your kids right now. It's not worth it. But or don't cuss somebody out in traffic. It's not worth it. I love my Stress Away. Stress Away is actually, it does come in a premium starter kit. This bottle is just about empty, but it has helped me out tremendously.
Good to know. So Tashina said that Mindwise has some omegas in there too. That would be good as well.
There you go.
Good support. So get your desert diffuser. Oils in every home.
Yep.
And if you have any other questions, comments afterwards, feel free to put them in the comments. We'll go back and we'll answer everybody as well. We do have some in-person classes coming up as well as some awesome online classes. We have an online class coming up on the 12th. That'll be in the evening. And then we have an in-person class coming up on the 15th, which will be a Friday, and that will be at my spa. So definitely check that out. We'll put some of those also in the comments.
Larissa loves Stress Away too.
Yes, girl. Yes.
That bottle of don't whoop your kids right now, it's not worth it.
All right, guys. Well, everybody have a great night. We appreciate you guys being on here. Remember, all of our videos are always uploaded to our YouTube channel. So if you're not subscribed, be sure to subscribe. DNA Wellness, and share this because people don't know that it is possible to feel good, right? So share this. We are a community of health and wellness.
Yeah, and we're here to help.
Bye, guys.
Thank you once again. We'll see you guys on our next Health Talk with the Motts. Remember, first Thursday of the month usually is. If we don't hit the first Thursday, it will be the second, but that's usually what we aim for. So once again, thank you all, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye, guys.
Good night.